Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined as always by my guy Nate Weitzer, holding it down on the East Coast. And we are looking at player props around the league today, Nate, on this Friday night NBA slate. Make sure to like and subscribe to that video and page. We're going to start bringing back the gift card giveaway opportunities next week by offering you guys a proper total, some number you need to guess and put in the comments, but do need to like to the page and subscribe in order to be eligible to win that gift card. And if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight. Nate, let's get into some player props.
Yeah, make sure you keep track of these numbers because that'll be really useful when we start giving away these gift cards. Beginning with an intriguing matchup in Sacramento, LaMelo Ball, questionable to play tonight with a hip injury. He's expected to play, but he'll be going up against De'Aaron Fox, who always loves an opportunity to go head-to-head with a high-profile point guard. In fact, he's took LaMelo's older brother's lunch a couple times during their college days, Kentucky versus UCLA there. And so now he goes up against a Charlotte team in general that's given up the most points per game in the league, 115. They're playing at the fourth fastest pace, giving up the fifth most assists per game, 26. And Fox averaged 9 assists per game against them last year. So I would start with his assist total, which you're actually getting plus 125 for him to get 6.5 or more. I mean, obviously 7 or more assists at DraftKings. 32.5 points, rebounds, and assists is also a great bet. He averaged 36 combined PRA last year. His scoring's down a little bit to 17 points per game, with the Kings a little healthier in the backcourt to start the season, but he's still getting a 27% usage rate. As I mentioned, he will relish the opportunity to go right at LaMelo, who is not necessarily a great defender at this point. The Hornets in general, not a good defensive team. Fox will get his when he wants, and the Kings offense should get theirs, which is why he averaged more assists, 7 assists per game at home, and why he can get to that average in this matchup for sure.
Yeah, we were both eyeing this game very quickly in terms of player props when you look at the pace that both the Kings and Hornets are playing with, as well as the lack of defense entirely that Charlotte's playing everywhere and particularly on the road. So, yeah, feel really good about a fast-paced guard like Fox running up and down on young Melo Ball and the really defenseless Hornets so far this season. Moving on to another game that's going to be pretty fun, a battle of a couple superstars here in Ja Morant in Memphis, heading over to the Wizards to take on Bradley Beal and co. And got to feel really good about what Ja's doing this season. Obviously, no one thinks it's a mirage. No one thinks that this is something that he can't continue all season. I don't necessarily even think he's early to his potential, third, second, maybe even first team All NBA, depending on how the rest of the season goes. In this small sample size, you got to consider him for first or second team so far. And it's really a matter of him doing some of the little things more efficiently this year, specifically getting to the free throw line about 6 times a game, which is really good for someone who's obviously attacking as much as he is. Still hitting about 75% of his free throws, which is great. Could get a little bit better, but it's enough for right now. And his points, rebounds, and assists for this game on DK is at 37.5. Yet the man's averaging 27 points a game, almost 6 boards, and almost 8 assists a game on 60% true shooting. So he's getting good shots. He's getting to his spots on the floor, and he's playing at an incredibly fast pace as well, as Memphis continues to be a solid offensive team as well. And when the Wizards are better on D this year than they were last year, that's not very hard to do, as bad as they were last year. When they just sold out on the defensive end to just score as much as they could. But this year, there's a lot more balance to their team, yet it's still a matter of what do they not do that well on D, and that's specifically allowing points in the paint, allowing free throws to be made by their opposition and getting them a lot of attempts, and that's what Ja Morant and company want to do, right? They want to crash into the lane, he's obviously going to be that athletic guard with the ball in his hands, a usage rate that's really, really high this year, above 27% so far, and that's about how often he has the ball in his hands when he's playing the Wizards as well. So I think, you got to like how much he's just the focal point of the offense. He's getting to anywhere he wants on the floor. There's nobody that can stay in front of him. He's made that leap to the point of his quickness and handles has been met with his ability to sort of cut off angles and such as he goes to the basket. So really, really like 37.5 from him tonight against the Wizards defense that is better, but not good still.
Yeah, and I really liked 5.5 rebounds for Josh specifically. That's kind of the benefit of playing with Steven Adams over Joval, right? He doesn't get you much offense. He doesn't do much in the box score, but what he does is open things up for an athletic point guard by clearing everybody out really on both ends. Just say, hey, go get the defensive rebound. And then on offense, he sets those incredible screens and kind of gets away with some offensive fouls, sealing people off so Ja can get to the bucket. He should get to the bucket against a Wizards team that gives up the fourth most paint points and second most free throws per game. And he's had no trouble scoring against them, even when they had Russ Westbrook last year. Sticking with point guards because they are the guys that have the ball in their hands. Malcolm Brogdon back for the Pacers on Wednesday from that hamstring injury. He went for 17, 8, and 7 against a very good Knicks defense. Now he faces the fast-paced Blazers playing at the fastest pace in the league and allowing the most assists per game, 29 times. The Pacers are getting Karis LeVert back too, which is key for his Brogdon's offensive output. He won't necessarily have to shoot as much, but he will still score efficiently. Things will open up for them with three legit scorers, throwing Sabonis there for the Pacers offense. And that's why I'm really liking his assists first and foremost. 5.5, you're getting minus 120, but it's because the guy averages 8 assists per game on the road this year and 6.4 over a much larger sample size last season. He had 11 dimes in 2 meetings with Portland last season, 43 points as well. And the Blazers guards are going to be a little more exhausted than Brogdon now that he's got his running mates. Lillard and McCollum still asked to do so much for that team, and they haven't been able to hold up too well on the defensive end because of that.
Yeah, and that's what we've been looking at with the Blazers for a while. You've got 2 small guards that are scorers, and that leads to a lack of defense on the other end. And they haven't put guys around them that, enough to play D to that extent. No offense to Rocco and company, but, there's nothing there to feel like there's any. I mean, Nurkic back there is better than they've had in the past, but still, it's not going to be a ton of a trouble for getting points on them, especially with those guys back. Karis LeVert looked really, really good in the way that he helped this team beat the Knicks the other night as well, to your point. So I'm feeling pretty good about the Pacers in general in that one, honestly. And Malcolm Brogdon, a guy I would continue to eye and love. And then lastly, on our player props, Nate, I'm eyeing a guy who was a gold medalist on the Olympic U.S. basketball team there, Kelden Johnson, the incomparable. Look, he is what he is at this point. I don't know. There were a little bit of expectation that he might be, break out into a top-tier player, but I think he's just turned into a really solid starter at this point, and is having a season that, is a solid starter, not someone that you can necessarily build around, but averaging about 15 points and 5 boards a game. And what I'm eyeing tonight in their matchup against the Magic is actually that Jakob Hertl's not in tonight, right? So if you look at who's going to get rebounds for the Spurs, it's going to have to be obviously DeJounte Murray continues to do what he does and get a ton of rebounds and assists, and then Kelden Johnson tonight to get 6.5 rebounds, where he'll be playing a lot of 4 and get a lot of minutes around the rim tonight. 6.5 boards gets you plus 110 on your money, which I would feel pretty good about. The other thing I like is I do think that the Spurs are going to handle this game tonight at least well enough to beat a really poor Magic team. It's a pretty small line, but if you like, you can get Kelden Johnson 15 points and a win for the Spurs plus 250 on FanDuel. I really like those odds there. He's averaging that amount. He's playing a bad team and without one of his top 3 players in Hertl on the floor tonight. So would really look at KJ there, specifically his 15 points and a win, or those 7 boards just to get you better than even money.
Yeah, with Jakob Hertl out,
yeah.
He went 16-6 last time against the Mavericks. I think he could get these 15 points against a much worse defensive team. And really, it's the Magic struggles on offense that really open things up for an athletic guy to grab that many rebounds. They're 29th in field goals made, 28th in points per game, and most of their scoring is coming in the fourth quarter in garbage time when Johnson probably won't even be out there anymore. So he's going to be collecting a lot of bricks. Cole Anthony having a nice little season, but they still take a lot of bad shots on that team, and that gives a lot of opportunities for a guy like KJ who was on the Olympic team basically for his ability to rebound, slash, and do what we expect him to do here.
Do the dirty work. That's right. So good stuff. Pretty nice Friday night slate. I know we'll be watching a ton of these games tonight. Make sure you do like and subscribe to that page. And until we see you again, happy betting.